Hey everybody, hey Darkstorm. So we're gonna pick up where we left off from this morning, work on some game design stuff. I want to consolidate all of these ideas and I want them in multiple different files. So let's go get started on that. Close this. Let's file issues for some of these things. Gonna be a lot of just organization today, I feel. Where'd that issue go? I don't like how changing the browser size moves everything all around. There we go. So new issue. Bug with camera zoom and loading from a save file. Repro. Zoom in, save, load, try zooming out. You won't be able to zoom out, presumably because the camera thinks that I wrote this down. I think the zoom index is 0 still. Yeah, this was a little mistake. I'll just confirm it. Yep. Hey, Broken Crown. We should try setting zoom index to the closest value based on the restored zoom level. There we go. All right, label, bug, priority, pretty low. And camera, I guess. UI. Yeah, UI. All right, milestone, whenever. Okay, one line gone. So idea, items can land on the ground, and if they aren't picked up, then they disappear. The bigger question here is, how do we want items to appear in your storeroom? And I think they should just dump on the ground somewhere and then start flashing if they aren't picked up. Oh, but that'd be a problem, right? That'd mean your workers would first have to go put all the items on the displays. And if there isn't room, then they can kind of use the ground as a display, which I think is a problem. You checked 232, right? I don't know. 232. Yeah, I did see this. Yeah. And it sounds like a reasonable fix. This clearly can't work. How should they get there then? Your adventurers might not even enter town anymore. This might just be something we need to file for later. I don't have an answer for this. Right now, items, when they enter your storeroom, like if you beat a battle, if I just hit repeat and then force win the battle, they just appear there. And I don't know what exactly I want to do. Like we could animate them coming from over here into the storeroom, but then they have to travel across world coordinates, which is kind of strange. They could float out of the portal into your storeroom, which again is kind of strange. The only thing that wouldn't be strange, I think, is people putting the items into the slots here. Actually, that's something I hadn't considered. What if auto battling doesn't actually give you the items? It's ending the auto battle that gives you all of it. It wouldn't be a smart move, but it's interesting. What if ending an auto battle gave you the items? Then auto battling would be nearly pointless. We would have to cut down the drop rate by quite a bit. The whole trying to solve this problem, which is like, how do we get items in the storeroom by making it so that ending auto battles gives you the items, is not a smart move. So let's copy paste this over there and try to figure it out. What just happened? There we go. I think the only thing that actually makes sense is having workers put them into your storeroom. Well, having adventurers / workers put them into your storeroom. But the problem is that the adventurers don't necessarily leave battle. So there won't be an entity to move them. Maybe there's a magic chest where the items spawn in the storeroom and they float to the displays. It's kind of weird. Because the other idea, if this were the case, then you could use the ground as storage. You would have to, so that workers have time to get to the items, to put them on display cases. So if your storeroom is full, items will be on the ground for like a minute, and the workers could prioritize them if there are free storeroom slots. Yeah, but it means that upgrading your storeroom doesn't really matter at first, because the difference between an item being on the ground and being on a display is pointless if the item would have lasted for long enough if it were on the ground anyway. So I think regardless, I like this idea of a treasure chest. There's a magical chest in the storeroom that spews items. The question is, does it spew them onto the floor or onto item displays? And the only reason why not to have it be on the floor is because then your workers have an additional task, which they'd have to prioritize, or else you'd lose the items. Actually, maybe that's something you can do manually. Maybe you can manually move items from the ground onto the displays. But I mean, that can always be done in the future. I think for now, let's just go with the easy option. So I will file an issue for that. New issue. Add a magical chest in the storeroom. There's currently no explanation in the game for how loot makes it from a battle to your storeroom. And even in the future, adventurers won't necessarily leave a battle, e.g. if they're auto battling. So there may not be an entity that explicitly moves the loot. I think we should add a magical chest in the storeroom that spews the items you win from battles. They should just float over to the item displays in the storeroom. If there's no space, they should land on the ground and fade out immediately. In the future, we can have an upgrade or a manual action where the items always spew to the ground and then flash quicker and quicker over the course of a minute or so before disappearing. This would add a minor interaction point, but I'm not sure it's worth it. All right, label items. Maybe storeroom? No, I think that's fine. Yeah, just items. Also, probably like a medium priority, I think, to add something like this. Okay, cool. Cross that off the list. All right, event ideas. I'm going to file this as just an idea. Idea events. What do you do like a supermarket? You decide what you want to put on the shelves yourself. Then on top of that, you have a big storage that stores the rest. The way the items flow in this game, though, is they all come from your storage, and that way storage is something you have to manage. So picking what goes onto your displays, as long as you have enough storage, is just you getting money in a slightly different order, which doesn't have a big impact. And it does add an interaction point. The thing that concerns me is any system we add is a system we need to educate the player about. Some are going to be obvious enough, some won't be. Hey, Amy. Yeah, I know, no music. I could just play the music in the background, though, while I stream. These events add interactive events. Add events for manual interaction. Yeah. The idea is that there are occasional events that are fun little boosts to your town, e.g. item pinata. You click it a bunch of times and items spew out, fall out of it. Farming could have a farming mini game, e.g. plant 7 pumpkins. I don't know, whatever. And then customer flood could just get plus 50 customers in town, each one wanting a specific item that you already have. I don't know where to put this. I wonder if I should just make an idea label. These are things that are never going to be addressed. They're not addressable. Not sure. Maybe this just belongs in a document and not in an issue. Design draft. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that'll work for now. I won't even give it a milestone. Okay, so delete this. A tank that only tanks when it has the most life. Yeah, I like this idea. Let's just slot this into classes. It's not a designed class. So maybe ability idea. Maybe I'll just put class ideas. And then just copy paste it from there, right? There. I like the idea. And either way, it's very cheap to file an idea. All right, this is a very, very tiny bug. Increase width of level label in instance list. Oops. There are going to be tooltips in the level section. Do I still have this open? Yes, I do. Nice. I can just paste it in here then. Because you can't copy easily out of here, even though there's a copy thing. Although maybe that works now. Who knows? If there are going to be tooltips in the level section of the instance list, then the level label should take up the full column. There, that's it. This is just a UI thing. Not very important. And milestone, whatever. Okay, idea, should we drastically change item acquisition rate so that it feels like you have too much inventory and need to push it on people? So maybe battling isn't just always done at the beginning. Thing is, your adventurers don't have anything else to do. I guess if we consider them to be builders, then it might make sense. But I think you'll quickly get to the point where your adventurers have nothing to do. Either they start with something or like a basic thing. I think it's just part of balancing though. So I guess I'll write it in the balance note. Do we have like... No. I'll just write final balance pass. Perform final balance pass. This is a pre-launch task. Although it, well, yeah. Considerations. All right, should we drastically decrease? That way, maybe it isn't an automatic decision to do non-stop battles. Okay. Rare event instance that is just a boss and you get percentage loot based on how much damage you deal. Oh, that'd be cool. I think that could fit into the events thing, potentially. This goes into pre-launch. All right, and obviously this is a P0 issue. You can't release an unbalanced game. I guess it wouldn't be manual interaction though, so I guess it doesn't fit into this. And I guess this actually also isn't manual interaction. So maybe I just say add fun events. Yeah, there. Occasional events involving manual interaction or that are just fun little boosts for your town. Yeah. Cool. Make it a player-wide ability to let the adventurers act as workers. That way the player's in the loop about what's going on. We can even explain that items don't disappear. This doesn't belong here. Yeah, this doesn't belong here. I still got to think about that. Potential bug, provide feedback. Oh yeah, this we got to investigate. The itch app with sandboxing may block. Actually, let's just look it up. Itch app sandboxing. It's apparently a setting. I don't know. Let's see. My friend would have played on Windows. I don't know. Yeah, it might block requests. I can't tell just by reading, or at least not quickly. So let's just see if the itch app with sandboxing is blocking anything. For checkpoint 1, DAG reported that the provide feedback button wouldn't do anything when launched from the itch app with sandboxing enabled. See if this is still a problem anywhere in the game, e.g. metrics reporting, leaderboards, opening links, etc., and whether we can do anything about it, e.g. detect it and show an error message. Okay. Label, I don't know. Milestone though, pre-launch. There we go. All right, have it unlock auto battle. Yep, I think this is good. I think this is the kind of thing we need in that conclusion section. Yep, we already have it. Really think checkpoint 3 needs to be the experimental checkpoint. Only do stuff that addresses direct feedback or tries out a new system. It's probably the final alpha we'll have. Yeah, I think we need to add a 4th checkpoint. Hard to say whether that's going to be beta, though. Because I'd still like to get tests, and I feel like beta, to me, means that something is content complete. And just might still have a little bit of rough edges. And I don't think we'll be ready. I'll just put beta question mark. But yeah, no more large questions. Let's just file what I have written here. The experimental checkpoint. Lots of new ideas that we're testing based on feedback. Yeah. Creating item displays, at least 2 more adventurers. I don't even know about this. I don't think we need this here. This could be done. But maybe this even belongs in checkpoint number 3. Okay. Good. What's up next? Ability to buy certain items to improve your town, which leads to more buyers, or updates to paths and buildings. Dirt, stone, fancy stone. It's kind of cool. I'll file the idea over here for building, because we eventually need to process this whole thing. Yeah. There could be multiple types of paths that you can build. Dirt, stone, fancy stone. Just taking what Travoid said. It could cause entities to walk faster, or it could improve item prices somehow. I don't know. Could also just be aesthetic. Also just be aesthetic. All right. Be a random chance on a millionaire who comes by and buys everything. This is sort of captured as rare customers. But I'll write that down too, I suppose. Yeah. There. Cool to have a need for low-level items, maybe some kind of potion grinder or whatever that can merge 10 potions into a stronger one, but they're automatically taken from your storeroom. I'm not sure this is needed. I'd originally thought about this because with auto battling, this kind of thing is easy. But maybe quests should fill that role. Another thing is, like, if you don't need low-level items, why does it, who cares? You just wouldn't get low-level items anymore. That's how practically every RPG works anyway, right? You don't go back to the starter zone and get, boar tails or something. There's a problem with manual path creation. The auto tiles are too annoying to work with and create too many glitches. Unless you can somehow do this from code, which would probably be even more annoying. I could see it being easy enough to do through code. But we can find out. The other thing too is I wonder if there's just like Godot use auto tile from code. Is it possible? For terrain paint. Anyway, we can figure something out. But we don't even necessarily need to make it so that you can create the paths. Like maybe you're just building the path and it's just filling in, like making a path visible in the map, or we save off what the tile indices are or something. There are lots of things we can come up with. Yeah, I don't think this is needed. Could have multiple towns. I'm not going to write this down. I don't think we're going to do that. And knowing to hire an adventurer and had to put in X points where X is your level. Perhaps leveling should be slower in the final game. Don't know, but not going to write that down either. That's going to be an obvious balance thing. Some player-wide skills that can be manifested as rare items that show in the skill tree but aren't tied to points. Maybe the rare items would come from instances. Yeah, that's fine. You can write that down. We might end up using this for that magic dismantler. Could just have it so you click to assign a free worker to do the action, where the action is restocking or trashing it, etc. We can. I just still don't know if that's needed. All right, this is a class idea. Let's put this in class ideas. How do we add excitement? Right now, there's no hoping for any particular item. I guess that's the question I don't feel like I've answered. I'm going to put this in the to-do thing over here. Still don't think we've figured this out. Quests are the closest to it, at least. but quests would need to be much longer. You can manually pick them up and use them in crafting for extra powers. Yeah, it makes me wonder if it's important for them to even be picked up. Like, there could just be a player-wide skill that says any extra items. Well, okay, there's another piece of tension there, I guess, which is if you fully upgraded your storeroom, you might never get extra items. Your town might just be big enough where you can't even go through the items as quickly as workers can restock them and everything. So imagine if I had something like this. I mean, this is not going to be fast enough, but if I had another bunch of adventurers, in fact, if I just turn this off. Yeah, so we have what, 6 people fetching stuff now? Yeah. Some long burn quests. Maybe that's where the idle part comes in. Sounds kind of boring though. At least I have that written down. Only allow you, the player, to have so much money at once. I do like this idea. And then you can gate getting more money on some other unlock. Gate how much maximum money the player can have at any time. This would prevent us from needing exponential growth to prevent you on the acquired money. That way people can't just idle for 10 hours and then beat the whole game without playing anything. Yeah. Need to make the maximum very obvious though. And probably indicate in some kind of persistent way. You have made, or like this much 1456G was lost due to being at the money limit. Setting a goal at 1 million where you get the antidote, you get the Steam achievement. Oh yeah, that could still be done. I'm saying that it should probably start where you can make no more than 1,000 at a time. Then you upgrade to like 10,000. Then you upgrade to 50,000. Then you upgrade to whatever, maybe unlimited at that point. But that way you don't just open the game and leave it running for a day and come back and you've already got 10,000. And it's like, well, you've trivialized the entire first part of the game and now you can't learn how to play it because you just built everything all at once. I don't know, something like that. Oh, that brings up another question, which is if you've only ever been selling stuff, how do you get building materials? Can you buy them somehow? I'm still not sure I like this system. Can you buy building materials? What if you weren't magically dismantling everything and then realized that you had to? Could you speed up the process? All right, what's next? Maybe you have a vault that stores the money. Thieves would typically go there. You have to post adventurers. Yeah, I don't like that. Be cool to have items that represent progress for something sort of like quests, comma, map fragments in the Picross game. Maybe adventurers want certain items. Yeah. Okay, this represents an idea that I hadn't really thought of, which is items don't really have a function right now, but what if many, many items did? And quests are sort of the way we accomplish that. So maybe I just write that down here. Quests are the way we can make bundles of items functional. E.g., 5 potions equals a shop upgrade. So perhaps we can use that idea some more. I mean, I guess we've just been surfacing them as quests. People didn't really like quests though, I guess. Maybe you get whatever portal fragments from an instance and you use that to form the next portal. Yeah, that could be interesting. Consider a streaming campaign, make it a community thing. I think I have something written here like marketing before launch. Fully launch the game. Consider rating people who play Skeleseller, sort of like how I did for Botland. Topland. This is kind of a funny idea. What if you use all 3 battle slots and had a raid going? There were adventurers attacking from the left and from the right. I don't think it's worth doing. Yeah, I'm just going to delete it. This idea of only bosses have resistances and abilities and stuff, or that the field has it, I think is pretty good. I don't know where I wrote this down. What if adventurers had an inventory where you automatically equip the items into slots when you collect, and when you collect the full inventory, that adventurer has higher power permanently? So these sorts of ideas, I think the main problem that we have is what are players doing? And any sort of adventure inventory then has to be something that the player manages. So I guess, yeah, it would be a choice of do I equip these things or not? But functionally, we'd probably expect the player to be making this choice more often than not. Like the higher power will offset the amount of money lost. Otherwise, why would you ever do this? And at that point, is it just kind of a requirement? Are we balancing around this? So, yeah, I'm inclined to say we probably shouldn't do something like that. But I still don't fully have these systems figured out. I need to spend some more thought on them. Where did this thing go? Because I wanted to put this somewhere. Yeah, this thing. Did I write it anywhere else? No, I didn't. I might have it. It's going to be really hard to find. Oh, here we go. That wasn't too bad. Instances could have dungeon-wide debuffs. Similarly, bosses could have special abilities. Yeah, I think this is a pretty important thing, but we already have it written down. You would need, if we do that, dungeon-wide. Instance-wide. Or enemies deal 5 damage to attackers. If we do any of this, there needs to be a way to see information about these effects. It's another reason to have a floating question mark or something in the middle of the battle. The floating question mark thing had to do with how many rooms there are in an instance. This. Okay. A quest just gives you item slots, but then you still have to build a display. Yeah, that could be done. Do you have to build item displays? What do quests do if you're building item displays yourself? Do they just give you the slot to be able to build a display? Hey, Phil. Thanks for the sub. Welcome. I used to call subs view bots back when I was working on Botland. Then we were trying to come up with a name a while ago for what should we call them when I was doing Adam Learn stuff. And someone suggested Learneroni. Or just the more sensible students. But I don't know. I don't have a name for subs. Can manifest extra negative effects. Enemy favorite applied to instances. Monsters. Yeah. And I'd like to do something like that somewhere. I'm not sure where. I think it needs to be used very sparingly. And I'm not even sure how bosses would be in the game. Because with some games, like a Diablo type of game, you can just run the same boss over and over and over and over and over. And that's what some players do. Is that possible in this game? Are they just like randomly there at the end of instances? Do you know that they're there? Can you only do it once every 10 minutes or something? Because I don't want the end of the game to be like, oh, now memorize a bunch of effects that are on the enemies. But yeah, I think it would change up how you battle. And I think it's something worth doing toward the end. All right, if adventurer is holding an item that's lost or disappears. Yeah, we got to make prerequisites clearer in the skill tree. Probably just make them look a little bit better. I don't have that written down, do I? No, I don't. All right, let's make a new issue. Make the skell trees prerequisites clearer. Right now, I literally just put a down arrow in the UI. We should probably have a proper arrow and have a tooltip on the arrow explaining what it does, or a tooltip on the what dependent ability, I guess, saying that it requires 1 point in the parent. Also probably change the color of the arrow when you've met the prerequisites. You don't have a skill tree? Huh. You don't have a player thing either? Alright, I'll just put it in UI for now. Oh, this is probably P1. And it can be done whatever. Okay, a lot of the text in the UI is cut off, making it difficult to read. I think this is just part of the resolution issues. Oh no, this is part of the resolution issues, but yeah, this is really bad. All right, we should probably ask Ski to look into this stuff then when I'm done with this. Consider reaching out to Ski to see if these issues were fixed. This one. And this one. Actually, yeah, that's fine. The text is clipped. Yeah. All right, storeroom has visible spots for upgraded boxes. There's none on the far left. This we already know about. So it's just this one, which I think we would just say change the tile set for the storeroom. I'm going to file it as a bug, even though we can always just decide not to do it later if we don't want to. Change tile set slightly for the storeroom. Yeah. Ski had this feedback for checkpoint 2. Visible spots, yeah. We could apply a less symmetrical effect, or just remove those corners altogether. Hey again, Presel. Is the audio video problem fixed or no? I can just keep talking and find out. Is it like a map or town? Or yeah, town. All right, this can be done whenever. It's actually not super important. Okay, so all those have been filed. Talk some more. I will definitely be talking some more. All of those things have been filed. So now we have to go through this list. So I guess let's copy this. There's still some delay. Okay, that's too bad. Make sure to do everything on this list. So this has been done, right? Yes. Oh, and then throw that document away. Bin it. Does it feel like there's enough to do? This is not the right thing. How do we add excitement? Have we added too much complexity? Can we simplify anything? Yeah, the idea of building. Okay, so here's how we could simplify building. We could make it just take money. That is a great simplification, but then items don't have any differentiation. But I don't know if that's a problem. In fact, I don't think it's a problem. What if building stuff just took money? I just don't think it's worth adding 3 other kinds of resources and having a dismantling system for building. We get a building take money and then also worker time and then also quest items. Thinking and ask how it went. Please tell me quickly when you can. It went pretty well. There's some feedback I wrote up here, just a summary of everything. There are some really straightforward bugs we just need to fix, like resolution problems. But then there's this category of people who said they wanted more to do in the game. And I agree. I've heard this feedback from enough people now where I think we need to add something. And I think building up your town could be that something, or at least for the early game. So that's what we've been trying to figure out. I spent 4 hours this morning just planning this stuff. I came up with a system where you could build buildings. The way it would work is you would get items. So let's say you took a sword and then you could like dismantle it into, let's say, steel. And then you use steel and wood and whatever else to make buildings. And then those buildings would be things like your shop, your item displays, your portals to different locations, whatever else. I like it well enough. I just don't like this idea of converting your items into components. This should clarify the storeroom issue. Oh, I see what you're saying. But I guess what I was getting at is we could just come up with an aesthetic thing that is a little different, right? Like instead of one of these squares every so often, we put like one there and one there and one down there or something. Or were these supposed to be item display slots? In which case, yeah, we could just expand the storeroom a little bit. Because, yeah. Hey, Heen. I don't recognize your name, but it's because you just created your account last month. I recognize that storeroom problem. You betcha. Hey, Ski, I filed all your feedback, and now we're trying to come up with what we're doing with this stuff. So if building stuff just took money, yeah, so then the problem would be that we don't have a way to differentiate items. We could add in items that are only used for building and just show them in your storeroom, e.g. a wood pile, and wood could drop. Hey, Maniac. Ski. Okay, so let's just focus on this one problem. Problem is this. There are a bunch of different items in the game, but all that really matters is their category: weapon, armor, potion. And there are only 2 functions for any item: sell for money or turn in for a quest reward. And the only quest reward is upgrading the shop. Hey, Samurai. There's no way the period you basically didn't stream for was 3 months. It's 3 years. Yeah, you put years. Yeah, it was. I think I streamed like 6 times in the 3 years. Or maybe 7 or something, some low number of times, yeah. New keyboard? Yeah. Definitely new keyboard. I guess I started using this while I was at Google. How long did it take to get used to the keyboard? For English, probably like a week. For coding, probably at least a month. And then when I switched to Colmac, it's been about 13 months so far, and I feel like there's still room for improvement. I think I was more natural at typing on QWERTY. Kind of makes sense, right? Spend my whole life typing with QWERTY, and then all of a sudden I switch to Colmac. And for 13 months is probably not slightly long enough. Coworkers also use a split keyboard. I was a remote worker, so I didn't really get to find out what most people used. I did have one coworker who, when we went into the office, brought his keyboard, and it was this one, the Kfrency, which is a split keyboard, and he liked it. But I don't know if anybody else used one. Oh, actually, I do know one other person used a Moonlander. So yeah, some people did. Would you borrow somebody's computer? Yeah, I can use QWERTY. I don't even know if I prefer Colmac at this point. I think I will probably prefer it at some point. I prefer this keyboard, that's for sure, and it happens to be Colmac right now. So I felt like it was more optimal. I was just interested, that's all. I heard people talking about it, and I thought, someday I want to try that. And then one random Friday, I was just like, today's the day. And I tried it, and then I was like, well, now I'm committed. So I don't know if it actually has been an improvement. I don't think my words per minute has increased. I don't think the accuracy is probably much better, although it's probably slightly better. And I don't know if the speed will ever get to be faster than QWERTY. Years of muscle memory didn't just disappear now. Yeah. What do you use for your phone's keyboard? I still use QWERTY. I think QWERTY is good for typing on a phone because you're just using your thumbs to type on a phone. Can I do a quick benchmark? No. All right, yeah. So I wrote this down. Problem, there are a bunch of different items in the game, but all that really matters is a category. So we would need to add another function for items. And some ideas would be things like we've talked about: equipment, dismantling / disenchanting into components, more quests, I guess. Actually, it would be kind of cool if there was a customer that wanted like 4 specific items, basically wanted to equip themselves. Did I write about my time at Google? Yeah. It's in the Google command. There's a video that I highly recommend watching. I think I wrote a very tiny amount about my time there. Yeah, it's like less than a page, but I think you'll find the video more interesting. It makes sense. You won't forget it since you use it every day. I mean, I still use a QWERTY keyboard on my laptop. I got a Chromebook and I don't feel like switching it to Colmac. Voice to text be wild. Yeah. It just makes things up every once in a while. You had a MacBook at Google? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Like the idea of first quest is get wood from the wooden forest battle, then iron from the next location, then it leads to building your first town, then hiring a shopkeeper, etc. Okay, that's something I hadn't thought of, which is what if quests reward the wood? I am not sure how I feel because I think you always need a way of being able to get more. And it could be, I could see a couple of different ways of this working. And I kind of like the idea of wood just dropping from instances. But at that point, we can go with, so yeah, the idea I originally had was that magic, what I call it, the magic deconstructor. So you would get a thing on your map. So just like how we have item displays, imagine there's some device here, the magic deconstructor, and you could click it and it would turn it on. And what that would mean is that, let me draw this in instead of instead of just talking about it. So you have some like little device here, and this is, let's say, the weapon deconstructor. So you click it and it turns on, and now weapons can be brought to it, and it just pumps out steel. And then you get another magic deconstructor for armor. And again, you can turn this on, maybe you turn this one off, and you bring armors to this now, and it deconstructs into leather. I don't think I like that idea because I feel like this is probably too much to manage. Like it's not fun management. It's just, oh, I happen to need wood. So let's turn on the armor deconstructor or something like that. Yeah. Equipment dismantling. So yeah, maybe some customers want an entire gear set. I still don't think that would be all that interesting. This is the direction I'm leaning. Slow burn quests. E.g., you have like 10 quests going on at any time, and some need an item that you rarely find. Sure looks a lot like a Twitch Prime sub. The the thing I drew? I don't even I don't know what we're talking about. It'd be okay if you had extra inventory for materials, but maybe we could just use this and store the material count in the UI like you see in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I was thinking we could store it in the UI, but I feel like it's maybe too much if all you ever need it for is building. Where does this even show? Oh, there, I see. It could also just be in your storeroom. I don't think it would take up inventory space. It could take up an item display until it gets moved just into the wood pile in your storeroom. You would probably always want to be acquiring these materials, though. Hey, Reformulate. Thanks for the greater than 1 year resub. The red outline looks like the crown. Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, you're right. My subconscious is trying to get me money, and it just did. Thanks, Reformulate. All right, equipment. Maybe some customers want an entire gear set. Maybe your adventurers can equip stuff. I still don't like that idea. Dismantling into components. What was my issue with this? I think it's just extra complexity. Okay, I said this is a problem, but I didn't say why. In Moonlighter, were the items functional? I don't remember. There were only these items? Wow. I'm guessing they aren't functional. Oh, they could be used for crafting? Used to craft, yeah. Okay. So technically, every item was probably functional and then it could be used for crafting. And then the thing you crafted was the real functional item. And we don't have that concept. I guess because we're finding pre-formed items, like they're already swords and helmets and stuff. Might as well just have you all repeat the battle. Was it a 14 inch or 16 inch? I don't know. I almost never use it in laptop form. I just had it connected to these same monitors. It was probably 16 inches, my guess. Hmm. Just trying to think of what else we could do to differentiate items. As again, the problem we're looking at here is there are a bunch of items and they're just worth money. That's it. There's nothing else you can do with them. Every once in a while, sure, you could get a quest and it says, hey, bring me 5 bows. And now the bow is a specific item that you might want. But up until then, it's just who cares? It's a cane, it's a fire sword, it's the most powerful sword in the universe. It still just has a money value attached to it. Can't decide which size to go with. Well, do you plan on using it as a laptop more or as a desktop more? Because for me, I am mostly doing my computing from this room, and I have a laptop, but that maybe accounts for like 3 or 4% of my computer usage. So the screen size to me wouldn't matter very much. You'd say laptop more. If it's laptop more, then the portability might matter to you. In the end, look, I don't think you can really go wrong because as a laptop, you could just increase the size of the font on your screen if you can't read it, or connect an external display. And as a desktop, you're not even using the laptop display probably. But like I said, you can't really go wrong. It's not like the difference is, 5 pounds versus 50 pounds. It's like what, 2 versus 2.5 or something, or 3 versus 3.5, which as a percentage is pretty big, but I don't think it really matters too much practically. Yeah. By the way, Pressel, do please try to mind the one of the few rules I have. Yeah, I bring it up every once in a while to people. All right. So yeah, I think I'm leaning toward more quests. And I don't know exactly who would give them to you or what they would be. But I guess if we're going to do that, what if there were quests? At that point, we should just have quests to build buildings. And why, yeah, why don't we do that? Like build the blacksmith shop, you know, 22 swords, 11 cloaks. Or maybe you can start getting quest items, like you do get wood from instances now. And higher level instances drop more wood. I'm not sure. The original plan that we had was that there'd be a guild, and the guild would be everything related to adventurers. So if you want to level up, we could have it be a quest to level up. And if you wanted to hire a new person, we'd have a quest to hire a new person. And there'd just be some NPC there. So I think we could answer that well enough. Like, how do we get the quest? There could just be a plot of land, and on that plot of land, the plot of land could have a quest on it. And you could choose to activate it. Oh yeah, I understand Oppressal, and I get that feedback a lot. It's, I think I'm one of the few places on the internet that tries to enforce that rule, and every once in a while it turns people away, and I hope it doesn't turn you away. But I'll bring it up. I think it's more apparent when there aren't as many people chatting. Yeah, so would this be a problem? Just adding more quests. I mean, it's certainly the easiest solution, and it doesn't add a new system, which I like. So I'm inclined to do this. So the way you would build is there would be a plot of land, and you'd click, I guess, I don't know, a signpost or something. It would say like, do you want to start building? Bring these materials here. I guess the material thing, it would be like a magic deconstructor, but that you're not directly managing. A union of clones. We are Legion. Have any idea of making the shop bigger once you upgrade it? That'll still probably be a thing. We would just need graphics for it. I don't think it's very important, but I think it's helpful. Hey, Caleb. So just more quests. What other things could we have quests for? And then what is money used for at that point? What is money used for? Maybe everything can also take some amount of money. Maybe you pay money to a builder to start the building quest. Yeah, so the money component you pay up front, then you need to get the items. So it's sort of like you need to collect items twice. I'm not sure I really like that. Maybe you pay some amount at the end. I don't know. You like taking? Yeah, thanks for watching. Okay. I kind of want to write that down. To make items, to differentiate items, I think we need longer and more numerous quests. That way it's exciting when you find a particular piece of gear or particular item, and it doesn't add to the complexity of the game. Yeah. Keep thinking of new things. I think all those new things are good to have written down as ideas somewhere. It's just for checkpoint 3, I really, really want to address like the primary pieces of feedback. Yeah. By the way, tomorrow my goal is to cut this list down. This is 11 pages, and I want this to be much, much shorter. Yeah, yesterday I spent a bunch of time. I got my personal to-do list down from like 22,000 characters to, I don't know, 3,000 or whatever. So I want to do the same thing tomorrow. There was just a lot of tasks, like I need to get an eye exam done at some point. And no, motorboat. Thanks for the gifted subs. Yeah, welcome. New subs. How you doing, motorboat? Don't make it to the botland too to do. Yeah, that's gonna be nuts. Yeah, so things like getting an eye exam, I just needed to call up a place, and now I got to figure out an appointment time. But there were a lot of little tasks like that. I needed to call my city government to figure something out. By the way, that was a great call. Every time I've called either the federal government or local governments, they've been fantastic. So I don't know why they get a bad rap. So yeah, tomorrow is the more work related stuff. And then I think as of maybe like Friday or next week, we can get back to some of these tasks I want to do. And I think the first thing I want to do is pay down some tech debt. And then we work on new changes. But maybe we should spread this out. Or maybe sprinkle in an hour each day. Tech debt. I'm not sure. A bunch of people on the internet are so incapable of focusing on long sentences. Yeah. Yeah. I have seen that happen. I've seen people comment on that in Discord. But at least for me, it offsets the other problems that happen, like someone changing their mind midway through or typing out 2 incoherent messages and then trying to fix it with a third one or something like that. Excuse me. Skyscraper. No, it wasn't for like zoning issues or something. Yeah, it's not actually worth explaining what it was for, but yeah, get ready to see the Adam learns skyscraper. Okay, so let's sum up everything that we wrote about with buildings. I'm gonna sum it up in VS Code just to make sure I've got it in one spot. Then I'll put it back in the document. What did we write down? Stuff you can build, shops, item displays, paths. Paths are questionable. You would need a path no matter what. Maybe the path is automatic. The guild. I don't know. Yeah, that stuff. All right, building takes a long time and requires workers. We wouldn't have some building animation though. Man. Just go with the original anymore, yeah. Hey, Squeaky. What's the genre? It's like semi-idle. you run a town and you send adventurers into battle and they earn items, and then those items are brought to shops and they're sold for money. Just make it appear and sprinkle it with some particles. But it's got to take. Is there a page that describes the game? Yeah, right there. It's got to. It's got to take time though. Like the animation can't just be it fading in, right? I think you'd expect it to look like it's being built. Yeah. How does someone who can't comprehend nor construct this complete sentence perform logical reasoning? I think there are very smart people who can text like morons. So I think it makes sense. Yeah, fidelity. I just think you would probably expect an animation. Use one adventure to build the thing. I guess the original StarCraft had like 2 or 3 phases of the construction and some sparks and stuff, at least for Terran. But StarCraft 2 had like proper building animations for everything. Those were pretty well done. All right, where their materials come from? So I guess you pay a builder. Actually, if you're paying a builder, then why would your workers be building the building? You pay an architect some money, and then they give you a quest for the building materials. Then your workers can start working on the building. All right. I don't know about the relocating buildings thing. I feel like, at least in the first version, first iteration of this, no need to build multiple buildings or relocate buildings. I'm a senior dev and I type like a moron. Yeah, there could be any number of problems behind that stuff. And I mean it. What's the word? I don't know, nicely, jokingly. Yeah, what if we just had a tie-in with your local government? Like you need a permit for Skeleseller buildings. And I reach out to every government in the world. It's the first augmented reality game. That's super boring. That's how we'll market it. Okay, so no need to place paths. You'd always want the shortest one anyway. In the future, we can allow you to build quicker paths between buildings and give you winding ones at first. Okay, you can only build on designated plots of land. There will be a sign of some sort where you can build. Just like real life, yeah, except for you're building digital property. Clearly defined building space, no plants and trees. You just build there and rebake the path. That's what I'm thinking, but lore wise, I still have an issue. Like, I've been mentioning this thing about help wanted signs, help wanted, whatever, rogue. And then somehow a rogue just appears. I guess that's what it is. But we should probably have some better lore reason. Like, are you sending a crow out to another town? Are you summoning them somehow? Are you just like you just have sign magic? I don't know. Yeah, pigeons. That's our answer. A pigeon floats in and then makes the sign for you. The pigeon has sign magic. Paying the cost of the sign summons or like gets a builder to walk to or an architect to walk to the sign and then start the process. Maybe they warp in via a portal. How he typed for his entire 40 plus year career of programming. Wow. Yeah, I used to pretty much type with 4 fingers, and I think it was pretty fast. But I think it was also probably destroying my hands. Not that I felt it, but probably if I'd kept doing it, I would have felt it. Portals to new locations. Maybe portals to new locations. Maybe those are from Quest, though. I mean, if all this stuff is taking place from Quest anyway, hard to say why you even need money. I don't know. Eventually need the guild to level. Oh, at first you eventually need the guild to hire more people. That's kind of dumb. If you can just put up help wanted signs wherever. But you need to know that you could put one up. Yeah, I guess that's a question I have. How do you know you can hire another adventurer if you're literally just putting up signs? Then I guess you would be able to do it whenever. Maybe that's where the guild comes in. Would it make sense for you to pay some fee to build a shop on the piece of land so you need to sell just slightly more items? Yeah, I think paying a fee would make sense. Because otherwise, I don't know what you're spending your money on in the game. And maybe I should answer that question. What are you spending your money on in the game? Items having 2 purposes, slightly strange as it is. Taxes. You know, I think not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3 was the first game I saw where I felt like, what would they call it? Taxes? There was some like supply tax or something like that. I forgot. Upkeep. Yeah. Yeah. It was the first game I saw. It was something like that. I'm pretty sure. If you had enough units, you just stopped making as much money. I did not like that system. I get that it's a strategy game and that of all the kinds of games, this would be the one where you'd put it in, but it just felt bad. It's like, oh, if I have 1 unit less, then I'll be earning more money. Unless your goal is just to make money, not to spend it. I don't think that would resonate with players. I think that just making money to see a number go up, you'd almost immediately ask, like, what do I use this for? Because it's money. So yeah, I think you'd need to have some way. All right, what else is in this building system that we need to copy over? I still don't know what you're building at the end of the game. So that's still a question we have. Anything else? Adventurers need to work on this. Maybe there is no building time. I feel like we have many different costs for building right now. It seems like building has a lot of duplication. A monetary cost for the architect, then time spent collecting items, then time spent building. Like we can get rid of some of that. Yeah, I don't like the idea. I don't think we need the building time, I guess. I want to build a skeleton house. Skeleseller. feel like it's just a natural cost that should be tied to everything. Yeah, well, and we have okay, so anything in the game that you need to unlock, we have I guess 3 ways of unlocking. We have 3 ways of unlocking things. Skell points from shop quests, which would probably have to change. Quests, which take items, and money. Yeah, just nonstop collect items. Well, let's go back to building. Yeah. Adventurers act as builders. How do you attract the shopkeepers? You attract shopkeepers with help wanted signs. This is also how you attract the first adventurer. You even get to pick whether you're searching for a rogue or mage. Building materials you buy. What do quests do if you're building items displays yourself? Yeah, I don't have a lot of answers for these things yet. Thoughts on code assistants like Copilot? Are you using any? I am using Copilot, yeah. Any plans to use Gen AI or LLMs as part of the game? No, not as part of the game. I think it'd be cool to have a game that's somehow based on AI, but I don't want to do that yet. Anyway, my general thoughts, because people have asked me this quite a lot. I think it's a tool like anything else. I think you need to be good at using your tool and make sure that it's not that you're not leaning on it too much. And I think for me, I treat it as like a very smart autocomplete right now. It works pretty well on the Skeleseller code base. And there are lots of times I'm about to type a function and it just types it for me. And I'm like, cool, that's pretty good. So yeah, I mostly use it autocomplete. I don't tend to ask it questions. I don't think skeletons can eat pizza. They have the teeth, but not the stomach. Yeah. LLMs are probably a big memory hog, but you could always have it be an API driven thing where the game is just constantly pinging some cloud infrastructure with your AI model on it. Have I written everything down? I'm still not sold on this. I think I have. Except for the start of game stuff. Start of game. I'll just copy paste this stuff. Okay, so I wanted to put this up here in conclusions. You put up a sign that says Skeletown next to a path where customers can enter your town from out of view. You build a shop with one item display. Buildings have a progress bar and even a time remaining. I don't think we need that. After building the shop, you post a help wanted sign for either a rogue or a mage. Adventurer shows up and offers to do battle. Say they need a portal to a location to do battle. You build that, I guess. There is no storeroom yet. This is possible because there's also no auto battling yet. You need the storeroom before you can get that. You eventually see your first rare customer, gives you a bunch of starting resources. You build a storeroom, you build another item display, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right, so here's the building system. How do we copy this? Or how do we paste this? I mean, paste from Markdown. There we go. Rationale, the building system teaches you how to play the game and gives you something to do at the beginning of the game. It also makes the town feel more like your town. Okay. So to do is going to be pull all conclusions from this file back into the design document. Yeah, I think I have 64 gigabytes of RAM on my computer, and I haven't come close to using it all yet, and I hope I never do. I'm not sure. I think 128 might have been an option. Mac Studio. I'm assuming it is exorbitantly expensive, though. If you were to buy, let's say, this computer, select. What do they charge for it? An extra $800, yeah. It's like, oh, I would have liked 128 gigabytes, but I don't want to pay $800 for it. That's too much. I mean, the computer was already too much, but it has been nice and it's very quiet. And it hasn't risen up and tried to kill me yet. Although I'm sure it's dying to do that. So how do you know you can hire another adventurer if you're literally just putting up signs? And I guess you'd be able to do it whenever. Maybe that's where the guild comes in. When would you get the guild? You'd want another adventurer pretty early on. Maybe the guild is what you start with. But if you're building up this town, like I guess we could have the intro and then somehow have like a 1 month later screen, and then yeah, you've got your guild and you've got whatever else, but you wouldn't know what those things do. I feel like if you don't start with a building, then we can teach you what its purpose is when you use the building. And I kind of like the idea of just hiring another adventurer. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, let's write down my thoughts because I'm all over the place right now. Okay, so I want you to go through whatever the action is of hiring an adventurer so that you know how to do it in the future. That means this process shouldn't change as you progress in the game. However, I don't want you to start with the guild. Maybe you build the guild and it's just like a tiny hut at first. Yeah, so Broken Crown, the problem is the chicken and egg problem. How do you build the guild without resources? You need an adventurer to get you the resources. But to get an adventurer, you need the guild. So it could be that you sort of start with one, I guess. But what did I say originally? How does the adventurer join you? You put a sign, yeah, you just put a sign down and you hire an adventurer for no reason. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they join you? How are you paying them? Hey, Froggy. Yeah, it's been good streaming again. I definitely like it. You had a friend with you when you got bit. He is your first adventurer. Okay, that could potentially work. You could argue you can't build a sign without wood either. You could, but you don't because you know better than that. Uh, hmm. Okay, well, I want you to build the guild early on. Yeah. And I just don't know. Should you get. Should you start with a. Okay, what do you need? What do you need? You somehow need to get items. The only way you get items is with an adventurer. So you need a way of getting an adventurer. So you need the guild. So let's just write this down. Items. Adventurer needs to be before that. Guild needs to be before the adventurer. Some amount of resources somehow need to be before the guild. And I guess you could start with a storeroom. It's just a table. Yeah. Okay, that'll work, I think. So the guild is the first thing that you build because you need to attract adventurers. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. That's what we're doing. Yeah. That's the order we're going with. And no one can tell me otherwise. Start of game. You put up a sign that says Skeleton. Okay, no, that's what you're starting with. You got to name your town Skeleton. Start strong. Yeah, that part is still true too. So you don't build a shop yet. You build a guild, and I guess you start with a storeroom, which is just a table. You build the guild to hire your first adventurer. You build a shop. Yeah. So they do battle. Oh, Heen, thanks for subbing. I appreciate it. Why can't the skeleton go into the first fight? Because you died already. You realized you sucked at fighting when you died. Okay, that part of the game actually is answered already. So I feel like we shouldn't have the skeleton go into battle. But you can die again. No, then you're dead for good. Then you'd have to come back as a ghost. Then you'd be asking me the same question. Why can't the ghost go into the first battle? And I'd be like, okay, fine. They go into battle. Then what does the ghost come back as? So the adventurer battles and earns you an item, which goes onto the table. Then they say that you need well, I don't know, something indicates that you need a shop. You build a shop with one item display to sell the item. Oh, how did they do bad? I guess they just walked into the forest. Yeah. Maybe they just walk into the forest. Offers to do battle. They say they need a portal to a location. You build that. Okay, so we don't have that. No storeroom. Only holds one. No auto battling. Don't care about that. Once you have an item, a customer shows up and buys it. Once you have the item. This doesn't happen. You get into the swing of battling some more. You eventually see a rare customer, gives you a lot of starting resources. You use those starting resources to build something. Forgot what. It's on my clipboard. Resources of the guild, adventurers, items. No, I think we're good. Okay. If you need a cash infusion, then maybe you get a scripted rare customer. Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, he has to build a town. It's Skeletown. You think you just coincidentally moved into a town called Skeletown and you happen to be a skeleton who wants to sell a ton in his Skeleseller? No. Yeah, there's a ghost loan shark. How about that? Let's combine all the ideas. Have him travel to a nearby town to get his first adventure. You can then use this as a way of introducing trading between towns later. I just don't know if I want trading between towns later. There need to be like a way of getting to a different map or some caravan that shows up. Yeah. All right. So what other questions do we have? How do you know you can hire an adventurer? So it's the guild. Great. Seems like building has a lot of duplication, a monetary cost for the architect. All right, I think we need to answer this question. What are you spending your money on? Expansion content? I mean, it could be. So, what do you spend money on? What is there to unlock is a good question. So, new adventurers, leveling up adventurers, adding item displays to the storeroom, building shops, portals, maybe like shortcut paths. Did I write that down already? Yeah. Okay. Shortcut paths, upgrading or adding item displays to shops, skill points. Is there anything else? I mean, if we just look at the game right now, what's in there? Hire, level up, upgrade storeroom, and then the shops have quests. That's it. Yeah. Very real limit on how much you can earn on the other citizens in the town. Oh, there is mega inflation. Food. There's no concept of food for the adventurers. They sustain themselves on the spoils of battle somehow. I don't know, monster corpses. They eat snakes. So how do we decide which ones take money? I guess new adventurers, it would make sense that it costs money. Building could have some monetary component for the wood and stone and whatever. Everything else, quests. I don't think it would feel very good though. I mean, given the feedback that we've seen so far already, people have said like, "Oh, it doesn't really feel like I'm doing a lot for quests." Again, here's what the quest system is right now. If I just click this, it says, "Hey, I need you to fetch 5 bows. If you do, I'll give you 1 skill point." So I click accept, and now we need to turn in 5 bows. Now I click grant items and just hopefully get 5 bows over here. And now every time they have a bow in their hand, instead of bringing it to the shop to put it on the display, they'll put it in the item bin. They're never going to grab a bow. Oh, there, that one did. Yeah. So this one's going to walk over to the display, and there it goes. 2 out of 5. And that's it. Those are the quests. So some people have felt like, oh, this isn't really interacting with anything. And it's true, you're not. But I think if you had many different quests going at once, it might be better. So it feels like, oh, I finally got the last bow that I need. The more you spend resources, the more you gain. I guess that's something we could do is have like a way of buying specific items rather than having to battle for them. Although I feel like that's adding another system for something that we already have a system for. It would shortcut needing to win an item roll. I think I'll write that down as an idea, but I don't know if I want to do that at first. The ability to buy specific items for a quest. Maybe this can be surfaced as spend like 500 gold to complete the quest without having to find the items. Actually, that could be a pretty good idea. Anything that's a quest could just be purchased. That way money always has a use, and it's just a question of do you want to wait around for that thing? They do well, they prioritize quest items in the sense that they will always put it in the quest bin, but they don't prioritize picking them up from the displays. But I don't think that's a problem. Is there a way to target specific items, like only humanoid enemies drop bows? Sort of. So there is a location list, and there's nothing in the game now that tells you, but eventually imagine if hovering over the forest shows you like loot you can obtain, potion, and hovering over the dungeon says, loot you can obtain, bow and cane or something like that. So you'd be able to tell, where do I need to go for a particular thing. Yeah, I like this idea. And then I think we'll just copy paste in what Broken Crown said. I think with a tiny modification, let's just throw another couple zeros here and take a couple zeros off of here. I think this is pretty good. Remove the kappa. Yeah, so $2,000, maybe 5 sales of the game, make 10K. We only have to make 25 digital gold. Throw some NFTs in there. That's a pretty good plan. I do like this idea though, that maybe you could bypass a quest completely. Although I don't know what we would do to interact with that. Maybe like click the bin to... No, I don't know how we would do that, but I need to have some way. It seems really fair. It is really fair. I'm a very fair person. Yeah, I don't know what the UI would be for this. I want a tooltip on this so that you know what it is. But then I guess you need to be able to hover over a tooltip, which we don't have that ability in the game right now. You have to spawn like at your mouse and then allow you to hover over it and click a button inside of it. Or I guess the NPC could just have this. Well, in this case, there is an NPC, but maybe there won't always be one. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Gotta get on my thing over employment trip. You'll need 6 jobs if you want to play this game. Not enough time, invent more time. Yeah, I like this idea. Put this in conclusions. Oh, in fact, actually, the whole thing should go in there, right? This. So money is used to buy goods. Smart. Okay, so money. Money is used to hire new adventurers to fund building, to pay for like wood and stone and whatever for buildings. There's an upfront cost. And can also be used to bypass. What did I wrote some wording that I thought was actually pretty good. Yeah. You bypass quests. $500G, $12G per item to complete the quest without having to find the remaining items. Yeah. Although this can't be, we could say this is like 144, but not 500. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Broken Crown. Okay, what else do we have? What's on the to-do list? Here's some hard questions. Seems like building has a lot of duplication, monetary cost for the architect, time spent collecting items, time spent building. Yeah, I think we can get rid of the time spent building. I think buildings can just poof into existence. Or while you're collecting items, each item is like progress toward the building. But that doesn't really make sense because a sword does not build a building. Yeah, think I think we'll just get rid of the time to build. Building takes a long time and requires workers. Okay, so building doesn't take any time or workers. There's already the money to buy the materials and the time to bring items to the collection bin. So even more time would be overkill. I like the idea of just buying your way through the game too if you already have the money. It's like if you are idling, then cool. You don't need to go collect a bunch of specific resources. It does mean that if this game is played idly, that it's probably super boring. But hey, if people are already having fun, then I guess this wouldn't change anything. All right, what are you building at the end of the game? I guess that's not an important question anymore. It was an important question when you had wood and steel, and the only things those could be used for would be building. But now that you're not using special items, then who cares? Yeah. You know, I think Ski, thanks to that comment, I'm going to change it. 0.5 gold is going to be $20,000. A couple of those microtransactions. We'll call them macro transactions, actually. That's a good idea. On a Twitch official Twitch channel that is playing you on their suggested channels. What? What does that even mean? Can you link it, Blub? What do quests do? Oh, the programming channel. Let me take a look at this. Oh, interesting. And wait. Oh, I see how that works. Oh, cool. Well, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. So what do quests do if you're building item displays yourself? Are you building them yourself? I don't. I think that's just how upgrading the shop works. I don't think you build item displays, at least not in the shops. It's for also giving you skill points. But I don't think that was clear to players. You probably need a way to turn off quest progress somehow. Otherwise, I guess you might be able to get to the point where you can't advance. How many people are following that channel, by the way? 36K. Wow. Their last streams were 8 years ago. Is that correct? Yep. Wow. Yeah, I doubt many people probably see that page. If we determine you need a cache infusion, we do that. All right, this idea is already there, so we'll delete it from there. What was I just saying? Yeah, the whole building item displays thing. Item displays in the storeroom, I suppose. I'm not even sure that I want to do that. But I guess it wouldn't make sense for it to be a quest in your own storeroom. I don't know who you're buying it from, though. Oh well. You found me anyway, Blub. All signs point to Adam. Okay, next. How do we add excitement? Right now, there's no real hoping for a particular quest or particular item. Quests need to be much longer. Quest the way we can make bundles of items functional. Portal fragments. Are you building portals? Is that what I said? I said maybe. Would it be exciting if you had a quest going and then you finally found the item you needed for that quest? I guess so. Yeah, okay. I think this is at least a good starting point. Yeah. I don't think I have a real answer to this question. I also don't know how we would come up with an answer to this question. Items are either for selling or for quests. So we would need another function for an item. I kind of like the idea of kind of like the idea of more visual progress in a way that is functionally identical to quests. Maybe as quest progress increases, we can just render something differently, e.g., a building getting bigger or a storeroom filling out, something like that. Did I write the thing about the quest? No, no workers. Maybe as you deliver materials, the building starts to appear. Ideally, to be done by masking the sprite or yeah. I'll just put a question mark. It doesn't matter. I don't think that's important. All right, have we added too much complexity? Can we simplify anything? Yeah, I didn't like the idea of 3 currencies, so we got rid of that. Is there another way of solving these problems? I think we just ended up using quests. So what have we concluded from this? Persistent life values, I think that's good. I think we still have some questions around that. Do I have it written down? Did I have it written down? I wrote the word short somewhere. No. Well, where did I write that? This right here, yeah. Could have auto battle wait until. Oh, this should be deleted from here. Yeah. Should be put over here. File this idea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So too much complexity. So we talked about persistent life values, talked about building your town, which while it is adding some complexity, I think it'll be straightforward enough and it'll allow us to slowly introduce systems. And the first, how did I say this plays out? You start with a storeroom, you build the guild to hire your first adventurer. So building the guild, normally this would have been a quest, but uh it can't be. This is the only special building in that there, yeah, you don't have the resources to make it. Maybe some guild master walks over to you and says they want to open a branch of like Guilds Are Us next to you, of their guild in your town free of charge. Yeah, I'll write this. Like it costs, I don't know, 10,000 G and 500 swords. You don't have the funds. A guild master walks over to you and says they want to open a branch in your town free of charge. You've always wanted a guild before death and now after death. Well, then it's an extra lifelong mission. It's a death long mission. 10,000 G is $200 million. We just need one sale of the game. Even 1/10 of a sale, I'd be happy with. This part is a little unbelievable. Guild Master just happens to know that you want to build a guild. There could be some humorous dialogue. I build the building of this guild to you. Snake bit you and the guild master. No, the guild master is just some money hungry fool who wants to open up a franchise in your town. I build the guild building to you. Yeah. All right. So if we were to sum this up again, persistent life values, building rare customers, more quests. Okay. I think this is minimal additional complexity, hopefully. All right, what do we do about adventurers acting as more than just battlers? Should we remove their ability to do work? It would simplify a lot. Maybe closing the battle window is something we allow, and that's what makes them act like workers again. I'm very torn on this. Again, right now, here's the problem. Where is... Okay, this is moving way too fast. Turn off Swift Shoes. All right, so there's the cleric, right? And now watch. They're gone because they've entered the battle. So this has been confusing to players because they could be gone while they're holding an item. And if they're holding an item, they still keep the item, but it's not obvious. So there, they just pop back into town. And now if I repeat battle again, they're gone. So what I'm thinking is, as long as they're in this window, whether or not they're in battle, maybe they should just be in this window. So here, they finish the battle. They should not be in town. And then there should be some way to like close the battle window. Or if you edit the party and, swap in a warrior here, then the cleric pops back into town at that point. I think that's what I want to do. And that way it's not confusing that your adventurers can go back to town and like what happens in between auto battles and stuff. The problem with that is you're probably always using all of your adventurers. And if they also act as workers, that means that you've got to manage them doing their work, which probably pushes you more toward idle gameplay, which then makes me think like, could you act as these characters? Could you move items around? I feel like that would help. See, person was moving stuff and then disappearing. Well, the pushing you to the clone myself perk, that was intentional. Yeah, I think you would want more workers. And also the unintentional part was right now there are only 4 adventurers in the game, but in the future, imagine 10 of these. You might not want 3 battles going at once, in which case you've always got a couple extra ones. Oh man. I don't know about the close button thing though. If we allow for closing battles, then the close button should have a tooltip saying what this does. However, we would probably want to allow manually restocking items in that case. Like, yeah, you would click an item, it would show up on your cursor, and then you'd go put it down somewhere. I think if they're not allowed back in town when auto battle is turned on, it would have made it more clear for me at least. Yeah, that would only kind of work though, Ski, because eventually you'd be like, okay, I want a party of these 3 characters, and you probably wouldn't be able to watch all of them to figure out, Are any of them holding an item? Man. I was just waiting until my storeroom was empty. Oh, I see. Yeah. So you wouldn't particularly care if they were holding something, just that your storeroom was not filled. Is there anything else we can do with this though? And this really does raise the question, like, should adventurers ever act as workers? And like, what point, what reason do they have to be in town if they're not doing anything? Maybe they just go to the inn. Just chill at the guild hall. They definitely could. Okay, let's write some thoughts down. Adventurers as workers. Okay, so if adventurers can act as workers, then pros, it provides some tension between having them battle and having them do something productive. Not productive. Having them do work, having them restock items. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Cons, it's confusing for players when an adventurer disappears from town. And with auto battling, they're performing double duty, meaning they're not always working in town. It's not really a con, though. I guess that's just the tension phrased as a con. I think it's just that it's confusing, especially if they were holding an item. Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen this, currently adventurers do act as workers. So if I grant a bunch of items, it's like there's my mage. My mage goes and picks up an item, and then we'll go deliver it to the right shop. So that's it acting as a worker. If I were to hit repeat battle over here, it is now acting as a battler. And when it gets done with this, it goes right back to where it was, pops back out, goes and drops off an item. So should they do that? Should they pick up items? Well, I guess pros, it doesn't require us to add in some other kind of worker. We have cloning in the game, but it's only once you have skill points. Yeah, I agree. We don't have adventurers as workers, then we would need some other way for there to be throughput for items being sold. More workers, some other kind of worker, or you gain the ability to manually move items. The manually moving item thing would actually probably be just enough to keep you engaged, maybe. You pick up an item and you can drag it onto a destination. And if you click an item, then now a worker couldn't touch it, I guess. Or could you click one out of a worker? feel like you shouldn't be able to do that. I think you should only be able to click them out of your storeroom. Is that fair? Would you ever have a reason to put it back into your storeroom? I guess you might. I don't know why. Well, it doesn't really matter. If we give you that ability and you use it and there's no exploit for it, then who cares? So you'd be able to drag it from your storeroom onto either a display or a quest bin. And that would be how you restock the shop. I think we need to do that. I just don't know about the adventurers part. Like, you do eventually get the cloning ability, and that combined with being able to drag items yourself might be enough. Maybe we make cloning be through a quest at like the magician or something, the wizard. I think we got to try it at least. Oh, this feels weird. Stop having adventurers act as workers. Instead, they should just hang out in town. I don't know. I don't know what hanging out in town means. And then add the ability to move an item from the storeroom to a valid destination. And then allow for getting cloning sooner. Maybe there's a rare item from various instances that auto clones you. Or maybe there's a quest. That way you don't feel like you need to spend skill points. Yeah, that's a question that we can answer later. Okay, I am intrigued by this, for sure. Yeah. And I guess in that conclusion, let's say when you pick up an item, either by clicking or dragging. Well, maybe it's just by dragging. Maybe show it slightly transparent and don't allow a worker to get it. Yeah, I think having to spend your skill points on it, or skill points are just very frequent. You get them so often that it's like, yeah, sure, I want a couple of clones now, and this number could go up to like 7. So when you feel like you need the extras, you can get them. That wouldn't be too bad either. But yeah, if you only have like 3 points and you feel like you have to spend them on your workers, I think that would be kind of sucky. Okay, so we're saying that they just wander around town if they feel like it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a shame. I refactored a bunch of code just to get that to work, and now it doesn't matter. Well, it wasn't too bad. I guess we learned something doing it. What's it called? Something storeroom? Pick up item from storeroom. Here it is. This is all based on entities now and not necessarily workers, but it all works. Possibly spending gold to hire a worker instead of an adventurer. Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea of cloning so that you always look at the skeletons. Also, the skeletons are technically the only ones who have a special graphic. I don't know if you know this, Ski, because it's kind of subtle. Let me show you the graphic. Where is it? Characters. Yeah, so there's a hands graphic, and the skeleton has that, and it has special animation frames where it doesn't have hands. So see these top ones, the hands are drawn right in, but in the bottom ones, the hands are drawn from that separate frame, so that when the skeleton's carrying an item, it looks great. When the adventurer's carrying an item, it actually doesn't look all that good. I'll show you there. So see, they don't have special hands. So in this case, it actually looks okay. But the skeleton has, yeah, the special consideration. So the item renders beneath it. And when they're moving upward, it doesn't render the hands at all. So that's another reason to only have it be the skeletons. I like cloning as kind of a cheeky way of doing this. And as you know, skeletons don't have cheeks, just the bones. So makes sense. Just totally makes sense. So HP persisting after battle. I think it's worth writing the rationale for this. Rationale adds a penalty for losing a battle, which is losing time. Oops, i.e. losing time. Yeah, it makes it easier to see where items are going. Yeah. But then you'll wonder who's the real you. Yeah. So adds a penalty for losing a battle and adds an incentive for getting defensive abilities. More battle throughput. Okay. I think I'll be the one with the cheeks. I provide the cheeks, you provide the endless free labor. Okay, so what do we have? That you can customize. That way you could have adventurers wait a little longer. I think this is stupid. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is really dumb. Both of these are dumb. Don't add any special UI for auto battling. Well, no inputs. For health consideration. Just have auto battling wait either 10 seconds or until you have full life. No. The longer. Wait 10 seconds and for you to have full life. If 10 seconds have passed and you don't have full life, then show a progress bar with the lowest life value. Nah, that's not really a good idea. Then say waiting for full life before starting. There. Then add some abilities that affect recovery time. Also, just figure out how recovery time works. I didn't even notice there was a skeleton. Wait, are you serious? I guess it is kind of hard to notice amongst a sea of just very rapidly wandering NPCs. But it is funny to me. Yeah, this is supposed to be you, and there's just no game intro right now to pull this all together. Yeah, I'll write this right into here. If you don't feel like waiting for full life, you can just click the start battle button yourself. Adventurers heal while they're walking around town. Oh, this concept of them walking around town. I think this is a polished thing we'll have to approach later because I don't like that the adventurers just disappear. At the very least, they could fade out and then fade back in. But even that's kind of weird. I feel like they should have to go to a portal. Yeah, this can just go into ideas. That's fine. Because we have all the code for adventurers acting as workers. So we could just enable this ability at some point. In fact, yeah, I was going to say, I could just put a Boolean in the code right now and say if like game constants dot can adventurers act as workers, and it's just set to false for everybody. And that way, if we ever want to change it, we could just not make it a constant, make it a skill or something. All right, well, one of the other things we're going to need to do is file some tasks on... Yeah, here it is. It's already there. Yeah. And we need to figure out how they heal. I wrote this bit about it goes up by 1 and then 2 and then 3 and so on. And what does that mean? That means there's the whole Gaussian thing of like n times n plus 1 divided by 2. So after what, 10 ticks, it would be 55 life. And the problem with that is what happens when you have like 500 life. So that's where I think you need abilities that tweak the amount of healing you get. And I think the way it could work, although maybe this feels kind of cheap, is we just say like double the healing efficacy, or we say something along the lines of like heal a percentage instead of, actually it should probably just always be a percentage. Was it a percentage in Idle Ascendance? Where's the code base for that? Idle Ascendance. Where does healing take place? Ugh, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Just looking here. Rest amount. Is that a thing that I want to look at? No, heal percent, rest amount. Rest amount plus equal. Oh, yeah. So it was percentage based. Yeah, so I think we can say we can have a percentage still, and we can just increase the percentage that you get until it's like a trivial amount of delay between battles. Did I write down how long that takes? I guess we could just figure it out, right? In fact, I guess we already pretty much figured it out. It's like 13 or 14. 14 times 15 is what, 210, 105, 105%, yeah. So that would guarantee heal you. So it's actually 13 point something. 13 point, well, I guess you don't have a 13 point something ticks. You just have 14 ticks. Okay, so 14 ticks to get to full. If we do 1%, 2%, 3%. And then we could have 2 skell points, double healing, and then triple healing. So it'd go to 7 ticks and then like 4 ticks. And maybe a fourth one, like full heal after each battle. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. All right, let's do that. %, 2%, 3%. There. Okay, file some ideas for player-wide abilities to affect healing, e.g. double the healing, triple the healing, or set to full life. Actually, oh man, no, this is kind of dumb, right? If you get to the point where you're at full life, then we haven't incentivized defensive abilities. Also, how long is a tick? Like a second? Yeah, I think people are gonna request a way to heal outside of this. Maybe you can drag any potion onto an adventurer and it would heal them. Any potion, though. Which would negate some of the benefit. Actually, would negate all of the benefit. You want to be careful with this. If you're always at full life, then we lose the benefits of persistent life, incentivizing defensive skills. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can find a way that makes that work pretty well. The other thing we could do is maybe to make it so that at the beginning of the game, you don't have to worry about healing too much. It could be like 1% plus 10 life, 2% plus 10 life, 3% plus 10 life. So at the beginning of the game, it's like, well, you're full healed after 3 ticks maybe, but eventually the plus 10 kind of drops off in efficacy. Maybe to make it easier on new players, the life regen gets a constant plus 5 per tick. So that at low levels, you heal faster. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about that though. We could add an inn. Then your adventurers would need to go back into town. I kind of want to change one other thing here too. Stop hanging adventurers act as workers. You should hang out in town when not in battle. Yeah, they could be in multiple windows at once though. I guess when not auto battling, maybe. Yeah. Adventurers relax to heal, and the higher the upgrade, the better the healing. I like the idea. I think the only problem I have is that right now, I mentioned this earlier, but like if we go find, where's the mage? There's the mage. Okay, if I click battle, the mage disappears. And then when we win the battle, the mage reappears. So are they just like reappearing inside the tavern and just automatically like eating or drinking or going to bed? Yeah, I don't know. Or do they respawn where they were and they have to like walk to the tavern and then they start healing? I like the have to go to portal. Yeah, I like that too. Should have to enter a portal before they can battle. And since they may be entering from different locations, means you may be in a state where an adventurer is flagged to enter a battle but hasn't made it there yet. So we need to account for that. Auto battling means you get a small tick of healing. I'm very torn. Very, very torn on that. Because even if you're an active player, you probably still want auto battling to happen. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on this part. Enter a portal before they can battle instantly enter different locations. I like the part about them entering portals. I think that makes sense. How else would they get to wherever they're going? And just disappearing from the town makes no sense. This is purely for lore reasons. It's just weird to have an adventurer outright disappear. But then, yeah, what if they, when they're done battling, they went back through the portal and then had to go to the inn or the tavern, but you need some other way to heal them because you don't even start with an inn. And then their walk time to the inn is going to be long enough where then your healing time has to be pretty quick. Auto battling means they don't go back through the portal at all. Yeah, I could see that happening, but then you still need them to get back to full life somehow. And if they don't go back through the portal at all, then your inn would pretty much never get used because I assume most people would just be auto battling. I just don't think we need an inn. I think they just heal while they're in this, like, whenever they're just not actively in battle, I think they need to be healing. Yeah. Whenever an adventurer is not actively battling, they're healing. They don't need to be in an inn or anything. If we have an inn, then it will increase the healing you get without the adventurers needing to be there. Although maybe they sometimes hang out there. I don't know. Okay, great. Whatever. I think that's good enough for now. Okay, so maybe cater both types of players, idle versus active, by adding an active component that could speed up progression. That is now going to be item placement. Yeah. Yeah. Being a place for hanging out and maybe it acting as a proxy for why they're healing better. Yeah. I think that's good. What's the point of having 3 different types of shops? A lot of this comes down to, like, so much of this is a producer consumer problem, and it's just very tough to balance. So you have the battles are producing items, and the items are weapons, armors, and potions. And then you have the shops are consuming the items, and you have a blacksmith, armor smith, and an alchemist. And hey, Halter baby. And if the throughput of any of this doesn't sort of match up, so let's say, for example, your shops are like the ones I have in the game right now. There are 10 displays. Like, rarely would you ever probably get into a real scenario, I'll increase the speed here, where all of the displays are filled. So it's like, is 10 all that different from having 6 of these? Like, okay, there, we just put 1 item down, 2 items, then they got bought. So it's like, okay, we only needed 2 item display so far. 1 more item, got bought. So this is one of the concerns. Oh, I guess we don't have many workers, and I guess the adventurers are doing their own thing over here. So now we'll put more items into here, but it's still not going to be a ton. So yeah, 2. Yeah, we could have gotten by with 2 item displays. So we would probably need customers to be way pickier. And then if they are pickier, that means that they're accumulating here for longer, which means then we have a throughput problem with the storeroom. But I guess if you're managing items, maybe there can be a trash can or something. You can figure this out. I don't know. Maybe you could drag it directly onto a customer. Who knows? But that's a problem we can tackle later. Ration. So an issue that eventually you'll be getting all kinds of loot and it won't really matter too much what shop it belongs to. Yeah. But that's an endgame problem. Did I write the rationale for that? I think I did somewhere. I don't know where it is anymore. Oh, here it is. Teach you how to play the game. Okay, yeah, let's split this out. Building teach you how to play the game. It gives you something to do at the beginning of the game. Makes the town feel more like your town. It's another point of progression. Okay, have I captured all of that now? Progression. Understand how the game works, yeah. Could be solved by being more picky about what items come from what locations, meaning I won't have an abundance of swords if I'm not battling at the sword location. Yeah, that's true. I guess this originally came from the whole, like, I'm getting swords, I'm getting armors, but they're just like, why do I care that it's a sword or an armor? Like, the graphic doesn't matter. It's just that number above the item. And yeah, the only answer I have for that is quests. I guess there's also the throughput thing. Like, maybe your weapon shop only has 1 item display. So it's really low throughput and you don't want to get a lot of weapons until you've upgraded it. How the music turned out? I didn't do any more work on it. Yesterday was a catch-up day. And so you've probably already heard whatever it sounded like back at the end of Monday. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's been shaping up. For those who haven't heard it, here it is. pause this. People didn't come to the stream to hear music. The melody's been in your head. You know, I got that same feedback from Quickie Joe. He said something like, "Oh yeah, that tune has been going through my head," and I'm like, "It might have had something to do with listening to it for 4 hours straight." I also do like the tune. Yeah, I hope quests are the answer. Yeah. Also, it's a cool emote, Blub. Not a bad thing. It's good. Yeah. I know it's not a bad thing. I do appreciate that people like it enough to have had it go through their heads. I really want to finish it too. At least for checkpoint 3, I think there needs to be at least one town theme. And I think I wrote that down right here in the checkpoint thing. Yeah, at least one music track. Yeah. So I've got my weeks pretty well planned. Tomorrow is going to be catch up on like non-Skeleseller stuff. And then Friday may be coding. All this new stuff. And then that'll be the case probably for like 2 weeks. And then music in my off stream time at some point until I have one solid track. Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, I there's so much work as a result of all this stuff. And I've started filing more and more issues on GitHub for all of what we have to do. And we're up to 113 now. And I just thought, what is like 113 days from now? If we did one issue per day, which is probably a very fast pace, that would put us in November 21st. Is that doable? I don't think so. How many streams are left until you're leaving? I don't remember when I'm even leaving. I probably wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say it's August 15th. And let me go take a look at a calendar really fast. Oh, good. Okay, here's one. All right, so we are on July 8th. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 streams till the break. And then I think I get back on the 26th or something. I'm not totally sure. So to put us into late September would give us another, just estimating here, like 15 maybe streams. So maybe 21 streams total. We can get a lot done in that time. But is it, 113 issues worth of stuff? We don't need to complete 113 by the end of September. We just need to complete it by the end of the game. Yeah, it's only 22 issues per stream. I've got it prioritized already. I just still find it daunting. I want to cover all the experimental stuff. And if people are like, you know what, this feels solid, I think this did it, then cool, we can just keep marching forward. Yeah. All right, consider allowing players to choose their first adventurer. I think I wrote this down already. Yeah, you pay an architect. They give you a quest. Oh, what? No, that's not what I'm reading. Yeah, you put up a sign that says Skeletown. You start with a storeroom. There's just a table. You build the guild. And you get to choose. You choose your first adventurer from maybe a set of 2 or 3. Yeah. You don't get an infinite choice there. Or, well, infinite. They're only probably going to be like 10 or 15 anyway. But yeah, you don't get to choose any of them. You just get to choose one of the ones we know works pretty well at the beginning. In fact, actually, I wonder if we have... I was going to say, we could have like a starter adventurer that has some defensive skill automatically, like heal yourself every time you deal damage. But I don't think that's necessary. Oh yeah, did I write the thing about unlocking auto battle by doing something? Auto battle. You should have to unlock it. Yeah, I just didn't write how you unlock it. I don't know how you should unlock this yet. Okay, so what else is here? So that's done. Add a new path. Quests are uninteresting since you're already getting those items. Yeah, so I don't think this has been addressed. I think if quests are uninteresting because you're already getting those items, they're still going to be uninteresting. But there is one difference here, which is that the instance list should tell you where to get certain loot. And we should probably change the loot randomization. So maybe there's like a 5% chance to get, item X and maybe like a 95% chance to get item Y. I'm not sold on that either. Yeah. But anyway, maybe they'll be slightly more interesting now. What do we have? Polish thing. Maybe if an adventurer has an item when they go into battle. Yeah, so this isn't going to be a problem anymore. That's not going to be a problem. That's decided. Walk to a portal. Adventurers auto battle. Don't come back. Yeah. The portal may not be closed. Okay, I guess that's an idea. No, it doesn't really matter. I don't care. All right, so file the conclusions. That's the last thing we have to do, which is not something that needs to happen right this second. But, and I'll put this on the other list too. Pull all conclusions from here into GitHub and then throw that document away. Just hurl it into the trash with reckless abandon. Okay. So, what was I uneasy about here? Some experimental thing I talked about. I don't remember what it was. Oh, auto battling. Right. Okay, so when auto battling, they shouldn't reappear in town and should instead show up in the battle background. So when you start a battle, no, this isn't even true anymore. When auto battling, adventurers shouldn't appear in town. Okay, where's the thing about adventurers not? Yep, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Well, 6.5 hours of game design got us to a state that I think I'm pretty happy with. I got to say, when I was making games originally, like long time ago when I started, I never did such a formal process for this because coding was the fun part. And then you eventually paint yourself into a corner where you can code everything perfectly, but it doesn't necessarily mean the things you're producing are going to be fun. And at that point, then you need to start deleting code that could have been perfectly written just because it's not fun or doesn't meet the needs of your players. So that's another reason why I'm glad we're doing this system where we're getting responses, checking all the feedback. And I think I processed everything except for like one piece of feedback. In fact, I could probably just go process that right now. I think it was this one. Let me see. It might have been this. I'm not actually sure. Let me see what the other one was. Yeah, I think it was this. So what does it say? It would be nice to be able to drag the order of party members instead of having to remove them and click on them in order. Cancel auto battle button is hidden by the Windows taskbar. Wish the battle window would show your party members if you win or a victory text to display. Yeah. Pathing could be improved. Possibly add a close button. A few people have asked for that. Okay, so these things need to be filed too. From feedback number 33. Inspired me to start writing down my own design for a game I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's a fun process. It really is. And I've got some. Hang on a second. Why won't this go in? Huh. Strange. Hang on, let me just unplug this. Something's wrong with slotting this keyboard in. Oh, I think I got it. All right, anyway, I've got some notes on notes.adamlers.com, which I will link in just a sec. There we go. Oh, nice. Yeah. So, game design. I just uploaded new ones, I think, yesterday. But the thing I was going to link this for is here, designing a brand new game. So I usually start a new document. I make a section with this stuff in it. And that, what you just saw me do, like I have a bunch of questions or to-do items and I just go through each one of them. I think that process is really important. And I think that when you're starting a brand new game, you have nothing to really base it on other than what's in your head so far. So just come up with some answer to something. And that's what this section talks about. So this might be helpful for you. The beginning, I had clicked to start another battle to realize I didn't have the ability to run two at a time. And I always just had that second battle open. Yeah, enough people have commented on that. And I think we need to do something. I'm not sure what we would show in that blank space. Because when you start the game, what is going on? I can't edit this with my mouse. There. All right, when you start the game, it is literally just blank space. Like there's just gray here. And sure, there's one button, start battle. But then if there were a close button here, I guess it would just bring you back to the blank space. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. But if people are requesting it, then it's probably something I need to consider. Why am I doing this? Just do the close all thing. The events are quite a lot. Yeah. I feel like we made some solid decisions. I thought about letting the battle windows be movable and they just pop up when a battle starts. I haven't. That's interesting. Because then if you wanted to close it, it would make sense that now you're just seeing more of the town. Yeah, interesting. I like the idea. I'll write it down. We need to break everything for this. It would be pretty easy to do, though, I think. Let me write this down, file this idea. There we go. Okay. I don't think the first battle needs it, but the second one was the issue. Though closing all of the battles and dropping that section entirely to see more of the town would be kind of cool. Then have the start battle button be up in the top menu, or just have it be the portal. Could just make the start battle button be the portal itself. So we need to indicate somehow that you can only have 3 battles running at a time. And we probably also need to add anchor to dock and allow you to move the dock. I don't know. Like I said, it's just an idea for now. I'll file it. Hey, Ruben, what's powering the note site? It is powered by Astro and Starlight. Yeah. And I even have notes on both of those things within the site itself. So there's something on Astro, and then this has all of my instructions on how to publish my own notes. So I look at this note pretty often, actually. You would think I would have just automated this, but I didn't. A lot of the reason why is I'm worried I'm going to publish something private. So I always want to check and not have it be automated. For those who don't know, so I use Obsidian for my note taking. Everything that shows up in this notebook, you can see on notes.adamlearns.com. But I also take a bunch of private notes. And for that, I have a folder structure that looks like this. So when and this is all under like notes. So when I'm on my own, I open up the notes folder. And when I'm streaming, I open up the public folder. So anything that's in private is usually very private and I don't want to share. And that's what I want to make sure I just put things in the right locations. If I were to open the private notebook, I actually have something that makes it turn red. And I have instructions on how to do that. So this is what my private notes would look like. So it's a visually different window and it's bright red. And even on my phone, it looks like this. It's all our birthdays. I mean, it is some of your birthdays. How many subs open up the private notes? No, I would never do that. I mean, some of the private notes are innocuous. Like, you know, what I need to buy from whatever, Amazon or something. I gotta get wasp spray, by the way, there. That's the private note you need to know. We have an umbrella outside and there's a wasp nest that's in it. What do you use the backend storage for it? S3? What am I using? I think this is GitHub powering this. Yeah. So I think it's totally free. Like all of this stuff is free. Did I write any of this down? I probably have repos, but I can't look at the repos because there's too much of a risk of me leaking personal stuff. Yeah, anyway, it's probably hosted on GitHub. I could check, but I'm pretty sure it's just a GitHub page thing. All right. I'm happy. You know, days like today, I always think that the cycle of programming, or not programming, but development, I guess, is do some work, feel good, encounter earth-shattering problem, panic, overcome the problem, repeat. That's what I think development is. And every time I'm in this part of the cycle, line 7 over here, I'm always like, that's it. We're done for. We're just never going to make it past this. And yet we always do. So I think the learning from this is don't panic. Skip over step 8. Just overcome the problem. Or line 8, not step 8. Yeah. Let's just not in agreement. Yeah, and I remember with Botland, there were so many times when I'm like, that's it, cancel the game. We're not making this anymore. We'll never overcome this problem. And then after like another week of just banging my head against it, I eventually came up with something. Yeah, or just loop around in this one right here. Just, you know, maybe sprinkle this in throughout. So I think today felt like this a little bit. My stress level has been a little higher than normal because after getting the feedback, like I said, the actual numbers, which I don't have open anymore, the actual numbers were pretty good. It was like, I don't know, 75 to 80% of the people liked the game. And on its own, sure, that's fine. But then the written feedback indicated some issues that I think are certainly worth addressing. So like I said, we did like 6 hours of game design. And after all that time, now maybe we'll bump the numbers to like 85% maybe of the people who would have experienced it here, not like all the players in the world. So I'm a happy camper, but yeah, this represents a lot of work we got to do. I think on Friday we'll start working on it. Like I said, I'll probably just tackle music on my own. And maybe share some updates on Discord or something. Also, I think I shared this the other day, but after however long I spent, 6 hours, I generated, I think, 65 seconds of music. So it takes me 1 hour to generate 10 seconds of music. Ideally, that time gets faster as I go because I at least already kind of composed it and I just needed to get the right instruments and everything. I guess I hadn't made the bass line. Well, I'm feeling good. Time to go find someone to raid. Oh, Malmsy's streaming. Have I rated Malmsey before? I don't actually know if I have. But we're rating Malmsey. Malmsey is probably the next person I'm interviewing. I say probably because I haven't actually set anything up yet. Any AI tools to generate for you? I use Copilot. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be back on Friday, and that's when we'll probably start coding some of this stuff. I think it's going to be exciting. I have been wanting to get back to code, even though it's only been, what, a week? But yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, take care. See you all on Friday. Bye. Say hi to Melmsy.